Senator Rosen.
Thank you, Chairman Risch, Ranking Member Shaheen. Thank you, Secretary Rubio, for being here. Secretary Rubio, I applaud the administration for facilitating a ceasefire last year between Israel and Gaza that will keep Israel safe and from further Hamas attacks and the suffering of Palestinian civilians. But I have serious questions about transparency, about the funding for the so-called Board of Peace in light of recent reporting that suggests donor funds have been deposited into a private J.P. Morgan account with no independent transparency mechanisms in place. As a member of the Board of Peace, Executive Board, and Secretary of State, you should be in a position to provide us with some answers. And you, as a former senator, know our role here, trying to get answers. And my team's been asking for a contact with the Board of Peace for several months just to do our due diligence, but we've received no response. Can you tell me exactly who my team should be reaching out to, please?
Well, I can now because the Board of Peace has finally hired some staff. It's going to be a very lean operation. They're working out of the Institute of Peace Building. So for some period of time, they really were not. It was just a very lean operation.
So do you have a name for my?
I do. I just don't have it on me, but I will get that to you. I think they just hired staff like in the last 2 weeks.
We will follow up with you. Thank you. I have a few other questions. Can you tell me how much money is in the World Bank administered Board of Peace Fund? Do you have a?
I don't have the answer because there's not U.S. dollars that have flowed. These are donor funds.
So can you tell me how much money is in the J.P. Morgan account?
Yeah, but again, those are not U.S. government accounts. Those are
who has oversight?
Well, that's the key here. Ultimately, the oversight over the funds of the Board of Peace will be done, and especially when it comes to U.S. dollars, will be done by you in Congress. We have not committed those funds there yet, although we've made a pledge until they've stood up the Board of Peace administratively.
Congress will have oversight ability.
Well, on the U.S. dollars.
On the U.S. dollars. Can the money in the J.P. Morgan account be used to compensate the president or his family or anyone directly?
No one's talking about doing that.
And you said you just hired some folks and it's going to be lean. About how many full-time personnel do you expect?
I think they ultimately want to get up to 15 or 20 full-time. I think they've started at 5, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong, but those are the numbers I recall.
So is the $50 million in U.S. taxpayer money that your department wants to give to the Board of Peace, is that going to be used to cover this?
But I think that $50 million was reversed. We ended up not doing that as a result of the way it was constructed. The Board of Peace is now built out as an international, non-governmental organization.
We will follow up with you on that once you give us a contact after this. Thank you. So, Secretary Rubio, during your confirmation and budget hearings last year, you committed to me you would support women and girls programming at the State Department. But under your leadership, you've terminated dozens of awards supporting women and girls. You shuttered the Office of Global Women's Issues, GWE. You fired the entire staff. You said repeatedly that regional bureaus will now be responsible for programs to support women and girls, but my staff has asked every single regional bureau if they have a plan to do this, and not a single bureau can provide me with an answer. And so, Secretary Rubio, I'm just so disappointed. I want to believe that you didn't lie to us, lie to me, and so I want to give you an opportunity to explain how women's issues have been integrated into the
I don't know.
bureaus. Do we have an outline?
I don't know who's telling you that at the regional bureaus, because that's not accurate. Some regional bureaus have a larger mandate on women's issues than others. As you example, like in Europe, it's probably less intense than in Africa.
Can you tell me who on your team we can reach out to then to find out? Because we're not getting, they're telling us they don't know.
Well, the regional bureaus tell you they don't know?
That's
Not only
correct.
does every regional bureau have someone in charge of women's issues, or at least in charge of that portfolio, but most of our embassies, especially in some of these key places, are advocating
follow up,
this.
and can I call you and have a conversation, because somehow there's a communication?
Yeah, because we didn't eliminate the program. We simply felt that there's a difference between the women's issues, for example, that you would face in Africa versus what you may be facing in some part of Asia.
Could you name a single new program that you've stood up in the last since the GWE office was closed? Do you know of any?
First of all, almost every single one of our programs that we do now, our humanitarian response to crisis, our food programs that we distributed, all of them have a women's component to it. Primarily because in these societies, women are the first ones affected.
Team, please, so we can get some clarification.
Yeah, we'll follow up, and I'll give you the right people. But each of these bureaus has someone or more than one case.
The last one here is there is a International Women of Courage program. You and the First Lady have championed. Are you going to commit to maintaining that?
The which one? I'm sorry.
The Women of Courage program. You and the First Lady have championed that.
Yeah, well, we had an award ceremony last year.
So
I don't know if one is scheduled for this year yet.
Thank you. With the remainder of my time, I'd like to remind the American people that as the Secretary of State, your main duty as America's chief diplomat is to maintain our relations with foreign nations. This is why I was shocked to see that you were at a party with President Trump in Miami instead of accompanying Vice President Vance to Pakistan for negotiations.
What
to
party
move
was I
forward.
at? I was at a party?
It's publicly reported, and there's photos there.
But
In
what
fact,
party?
Steve
No,
Witkoff
but you're going
and
to say that. I'm
Jared
going to answer it. I'm going to answer
But
that
let me
question because
finish
that's an
my
absurd statement.
As
I was
soon
not
as
at a
I
party.
finish my paragraph, he,
All right.
he can answer.
Because people are going to
In fact,
slander me. I'm going to answer
Steve
it.
Witkoff and Jared Kushner, both of whom were never confirmed by this body to be America's diplomats, accompanied the vice president in the negotiations. Even Iran's foreign minister was not there, yet you were not, was there, excuse me, and you were not. I just feel that's embarrassing for us, and it's embarrassing for you. So, Mr. Secretary, Congress represents the American people. We have the power to confirm who represents America abroad. We confirmed you to be our Secretary of State. We confirmed you to be in the negotiations that are happening. And it's just unthinkable to me that you are missing high-stakes negotiations or that you're not involved. It's sad.
Senator Rosen, your
Thank you.
time's up.
Yield back.